We underestimate just how powerful our presence really is. We think it's all about saying the right thing, making the perfect joke, or having the most clever line. But the truth is, the most unforgettable people are often the ones who know how to own a moment without even saying a word. When you're fully present, really present, you send out a signal that's hard to ignore. That kind of presence is magnetic. It's not about being the loudest in the room or trying to command attention. It's about creating a quiet gravity around you that pulls people in, especially him. You've probably had a moment like this before. You're talking to someone and suddenly you realize they're not really with you. They're nodding, they're smiling, maybe even laughing, but you can tell their mind is somewhere else. That lack of presence, it kills attraction. It's the difference between connection and noise. Now think of the opposite. Someone who, the moment they walk into a room, feels grounded. They're not trying to prove anything. They're not on their phone, not anxiously scanning the room for approval. They're just there. And that there-ness makes people lean in. That's the kind of presence we're talking about. Being present means you're not living in your head. You're not rehearsing lines. You're not wondering how you're being perceived. You're not thinking, does he like me? You're simply engaged with what's happening in front of you. You're comfortable in your own skin, comfortable with silence, and more importantly, comfortable allowing the moment to breathe. Because when you're at ease, you give him permission to be at ease too. And when he feels seen, heard, and safe in your energy, he starts associating that comfort with you. So how do you actually cultivate that kind of presence? It's not about performance. It's not about doing more. It's about being more. When you walk into a room, take a breath before you step in. Ground yourself. Feel the floor under your feet. Remind yourself that you have nothing to prove. You're not there to impress. You're there to experience. That subtle shift in mindset changes everything. Suddenly you're not looking for attention. You are attention. People notice that. He notices that. And let's talk about the power of listening. Deep, intentional listening is rare. Most people aren't really listening. They're just waiting for their turn to talk. But when you truly listen, when you look someone in the eye and give them your full focus, it's disarming. It's powerful because it tells him, in this moment, you matter. You're not just another conversation. That's the kind of interaction that stays with someone. Long after the words have faded, it's the feeling that remains. Presence is also about slowing down. We live in a world that's constantly rushing. Everyone's in a hurry to get somewhere, to check their phones, to escape the moment. So when someone slows down, when they're not in a rush to fill every silence or jump to the next topic, it stands out. You can sit across from someone, say very little, but if your energy is calm, if your eyes meet his with confidence, not neediness, not pressure, just curiosity and warmth, he feels that. He feels you. And that's what makes you unforgettable. Now I get it. This can feel unnatural at first, especially if you're used to overthinking or second-guessing yourself in romantic situations. But presence is a practice. It's a muscle. The more you practice staying grounded and connected to the moment, the more natural it becomes. And when you embody that kind of energy, not just occasionally, but consistently, you don't have to chase anyone's attention. You attract it because it's rare, it's real, and it's incredibly attractive. He won't necessarily walk away saying, wow, she had such great posture, or she made such insightful comments. What he'll remember is how he felt around you, that inexplicable calm, that spark of intrigue, that energy that made the world feel quieter and more alive when you were near. And it won't be something he can easily define. That's what makes it linger. That's what keeps him thinking about you hours or even days later. So if you want to leave a man thinking about you without saying a word, don't underestimate the power of your presence, because the way you carry yourself, the way you hold space, the way you own the moment. That says more than any clever line ever could. And sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. There's this moment, this beautiful, subtle moment that happens before anything is ever said. It's in the glance, the way two people's eyes meet and there's a spark, a connection, a question hanging in the air. And if you know how to own that moment, if you know how to hold someone's gaze with just the right balance of confidence and softness, you don't need to say a word for someone to start thinking about you long after you've left the room. Eye contact is the most underestimated power we have in attraction. We walk through so many conversations every day where our eyes are darting around, distracted, avoiding, searching. But when you lock eyes with someone and hold it for a beat longer than expected, just one beat, it changes everything. It's no longer about the words being exchanged, it's about energy. That gaze tells someone, I see you. And in a world where most people feel invisible, that is intoxicating. Now, I'm not talking about staring like a robot. This isn't about intensity for intensity's sake. It's about intentionality. It's about knowing when to look, when to hold the gaze, and when to look away. And the truth is, that little dance creates tension, the good kind, the kind that makes someone lean in a little closer, wonder what you're thinking, and replay that moment later in the evening when they're alone. Think about it. Most people's eye contact is transactional. It's a quick glance to acknowledge someone, or it's totally absent while we scroll through our phones and pretend to be present. But when you give someone your full, undivided attention, when you look at them like they matter in that moment, it makes an impact. People remember how you made them feel. And eye contact, that's where feelings begin. It's also a signal of your self-worth. When you're able to meet someone's gaze calmly and confidently, it shows that you're not afraid to be seen. You're not hiding, you're not shrinking, and you're certainly not playing small. You're saying, I'm here, I'm enough, and I'm not chasing anyone. And that energy, that's the energy that sticks in someone's mind. It's subtle but unforgettable. And there's something powerful about the way you look away too. The glance you give before turning your attention to something else, the playful smirk as you sip your drink, or the thoughtful look as you listen to someone else speak. That moment of letting go of the gaze is just as powerful as holding it. Because when you look away at the right time, you introduce contrast. You give him space to wonder. You create curiosity. You see, attraction isn't built in a straight line. It's created through tension and release. You give a little connection, then you pull back. You hold his gaze, then you look away. And in doing that, you send this quiet message that you're confident, grounded, and mysterious. That you're not here to perform or prove, you're just being. And it's magnetic. Let's be real. In the early stages of our education, words often get in the way. We overthink, we over-explain, we try to be witty, we try to say the right thing. But connection doesn't come from being clever. It comes from authenticity. And sometimes the most authentic moment is the one where nothing is said, just a look, shared and held, that says more than a speech ever could. This is the moment he'll remember when he's back at home, lying in bed, thinking about you. He'll remember the way you looked at him, not with need or expectation, but with confidence and warmth. He'll wonder what was going through your mind in that split second. And that wondering, that's what keeps you in his thoughts. And here's what's wild. When you master this, you don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to dominate the conversation or try too hard to impress. Your energy does the work for you. Because when a woman can be silent and still leave an emotional imprint, she's operating on another level entirely. So next time you're with someone you're interested in, don't underestimate the power of your gaze. Use it intentionally. Let it linger. Smile with your eyes. Be present in the silence. Because in that quiet moment, you have the ability to plant a thought in someone's mind that grows long after you're gone. And that's how you leave a man thinking about you without saying a single word. Let's talk about something that's often overlooked when it comes to attraction. The way we communicate without speaking a single word. I'm talking about body language. It's the most powerful tool we have at our disposal to leave someone thinking about us, and yet so many of us don't fully realize its potential. But here's the thing: how you move, how you stand, how you position yourself. These subtle signals are speaking volumes, and more often than not, they're doing the talking. Before you ever get a chance to open your mouth, when you enter a room, how do you carry yourself? Think about this for a second. Have you ever noticed someone walk into a space with confidence, and it almost felt like the air shifted around them? That's the magic of body language. It's not about what you say, but how you make others feel when you're there. It's how your posture can communicate strength, warmth, openness, or even intrigue, all without a single word. One of the easiest ways to start using body language to your advantage is through your posture. Posture is the first thing someone will notice about you, and it's the easiest to change. When you stand tall, shoulders back, chest open, you're immediately communicating something important, that you're comfortable with who you are, that you're confident in your own skin. And let me tell you, confidence is magnetic. But it's not just about standing up straight. It's about owning the space you occupy. Think about someone who stands rigid and small, trying to take up as little space as possible. Now compare that to someone who moves through the room with a fluidity that commands attention. Someone who feels comfortable enough to stand tall, to make eye contact, and to walk with purpose. People take notice of that. It's also about the little movements. The way you tilt your head when someone speaks to you, the way your eyes brighten when you're engaged in a conversation, the way you naturally lean in just a little when you're interested in what someone has to say. These are all signals that you're present, that you're genuinely interested, that you're not distracted or looking around the room. It creates an invisible connection that's undeniable. When you lean in, when your body turns slightly toward him, when your eyes lock in that subtle yet intentional way, you are telling him, I'm here with you. I'm interested in you. But this isn't just about giving all of your energy away. It's about creating a balance, keeping some of that energy to yourself, maintaining an air of mystery. And a big part of that comes through body language as well. For example, how you position your body can signal whether or not you're open to someone's presence. If you stand with your arms crossed, it can feel like you're shutting yourself off from others, creating a wall around you. But when you stand with your arms relaxed, maybe even open or gesturing as you speak, you're inviting people in. You're signaling warmth. You're making him feel comfortable enough to approach you, to engage with you, to think that you might just be someone he could connect with. Now, I know it can feel awkward at first. It's not always easy to be aware of our body language, but once you start paying attention, it becomes natural. The more you practice, the more you'll start to notice the power of your own movements and gestures. And believe me, you will start to see how people respond to you differently. You won't need to say a word, yet they'll be drawn to you. The way you sit, how you angle your body when someone's talking to you, how you smile without saying anything. It all adds up. Think about the subtlety of a gesture, how when you're talking to someone, you might lightly touch your hair or gently adjust your clothing. These little actions aren't just nervous habits. They can signal interest, playfulness, and even a level of confidence. They let him know that you're aware of your own presence and that you're comfortable with who you are. The key is to not overthink it, to not be so focused on what you're doing with your body that it becomes forced. When you can move naturally, when your gestures are fluid and genuine, that's when the magic happens. But beyond posture, beyond gestures, there's also the way you move through a space. Have you ever noticed someone who walks with confidence, who seems to glide rather than walk? That's an unspoken message too. The way you carry yourself through the world, whether you're walking into a room, moving from one place to another, or simply passing through a crowd, can communicate your level of comfort and self-assurance. People pay attention to how you navigate the world around you. If you move with purpose, if your steps are steady, if you're in tune with your surroundings, it says that you know exactly who you are and where you're going. And that's an incredibly attractive quality. Here's the bottom line. Your body language is a direct reflection of your self-esteem and confidence. The more aware you become of how you carry yourself, the more control you have over how you're perceived. It's a subtle dance, and the beauty of it is that you don't have to say a word. You just have to be present, to let your body speak for you. When you use body language in this way, you don't just leave him thinking about you, you leave him feeling something. And that's what truly makes an impact. So remember this, your body speaks before you do. And when you harness the power of body language, when you become aware of how you move, how you position yourself, how you connect with others non-verbally, you create an aura around you that is undeniable. And that aura, it's magnetic. One of the most powerful things you can do to leave a lasting impression is to understand the value of timing, specifically knowing when to walk away. It's easy to get caught up in the flow of a conversation, the chemistry, the connection you feel, and the excitement of being around someone who's truly captivating. But here's the secret. If you stay too long, you risk losing the magic that made the moment so special in the first place. The key is to leave while the spark is still high. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? We're often taught that if you want someone to think of you, you need to stay, keep the conversation going, make sure they know exactly how much fun they're having. But here's the truth. The more you give, the more you risk losing that sense of intrigue. Think of it like a perfect night out with friends or a thrilling movie. The best moments are often the ones you wish lasted just a bit longer. If the night continues without pause, eventually it begins to lose its shine. Similarly, if you leave too soon, there's a certain anticipation, a feeling that will linger in the air, keeping you on their mind. Now, I want you to think about the way you feel when you're with someone who's captivating, someone who exudes confidence and charm, but knows when to leave. You're left thinking, I want to see them again. I want more of that energy. This is the exact feeling you should aim to create. You're not abandoning the interaction, but rather creating a desire for more, a curiosity that stays with them, even when you're not around. So, what does this look like in practice? Let's take a moment to reflect on the dynamic between you and someone you're interested in. Imagine you're out at a party or sharing an intimate moment with someone you're drawn to. The conversation is flowing, the chemistry is undeniable, and the connection is building. Now, instead of riding the wave to its absolute peak, you decide to step away while it's still good. You thank them for their time, maybe offer a playful smile, and exit the situation. What happens next is the magic. They're left thinking about you. They wonder what's going on in their mind. Why did they leave so soon? When will I see them again? By leaving early, you create an emotional hook. You don't give them all the answers, and you don't let them get too comfortable. There's a lingering sense of curiosity, and that's powerful. You've created a space for them to miss you, and more importantly, to desire your presence again. When you leave at the peak of the interaction, you're not being mysterious for the sake of it. You're making a statement that your time, your presence, is valuable. It's a subtle form of self-respect. You're not desperate to stay or to prove anything. You're confident enough to walk away, knowing that you've already made an impact. This doesn't mean you should exit every interaction like this. It's about learning to read the room, understanding when the chemistry is at its highest, and recognizing when you've given enough to spark that curiosity without exhausting it. You'll know it's time when you feel that the connection has reached a natural peak, where the laughter is genuine, the conversation is flowing smoothly, and the energy is just right. Leaving at this moment doesn't just benefit you, it also benefits the other person. They are left with the opportunity to think about you in their own time, to reflect on the chemistry, and to anticipate what comes next. When you're always around, always available, there's no space for the imagination to run wild. But when you leave, you create that space. You allow them to fill in the gaps, wonder about your life, and reflect on how much fun they had. And when someone does this, they're far more likely to reach out to you again. The key here is balance. You want to be present enough to create that spark, but not so present that it starts to fizzle out. You want to leave before the conversation becomes routine or predictable. Predictability breeds complacency, and complacency breeds boredom. You're here to leave them wanting more, not just for the moment, but for the long haul. Think about the moments when someone left you thinking about them. What was it about them that stayed with you? It wasn't just their words or their presence. It was how they made you feel. They made you feel important. They made you feel like you had something to look forward to, and they left you in a state of curiosity. You wondered when you'd see them again, what the next conversation might bring, and whether that connection would continue to grow. You can create this same effect by simply mastering the art of timing. It's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about recognizing that you're in control of how much you give, how much you share, and when you decide to step back. You're not afraid to walk away while the interaction is still in its prime, and that confidence is incredibly attractive. So, next time, when you're in a conversation, in a moment of connection with someone you're drawn to, take a step back and ask yourself, am I leaving this moment while it's still memorable? Am I giving them something to think about after I go? And if the answer is no, then it's time to think about leaving while you're still on top, giving them a reason to miss you and anticipate the next time you meet. And that's when the magic happens. You'll walk away, and they'll be left thinking about you, wondering when they'll get to see you again, and remembering the spark you created. That's the true power of leaving while the connection is still strong. Because when you leave with confidence, you leave a part of yourself with them, and that part will stay with them far longer than any conversation could. When it comes to leaving a man thinking about you, one of the most powerful ways to do that is by cultivating an air of mystery. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Mystery, doesn't that just sound like playing games or being deceptive? No, it's actually the opposite. It's about not oversharing, not giving everything away all at once. It's about creating space for curiosity, for him to wonder more, for him to be intrigued and want to get to know you better. And this isn't about creating a facade, it's about embracing who you truly are, but not feeling the need to lay it all out on the table right away. Let's dive into this a little more. When we think about attraction, the truth is there's something inherently magnetic about the unknown. People, men, women, all of us are drawn to things that feel mysterious. We're wired to want to uncover what's hidden, to explore what's just out of reach. And when we give too much away too soon, we take away that sense of intrigue. It's like opening the entire gift box before someone has a chance to really appreciate the wrapping or the anticipation of what's inside. The mystery doesn't have to be over the top or dramatic. It can be something subtle but powerful. It starts with how you carry yourself, with the way you interact with him and with others. Think about it. When you walk into a room, do you walk in like the entire story of your life is written across your face? Or do you let your presence speak for itself, leaving people wanting to know more? It's about allowing people to get to know you slowly, piece by piece, and letting them come to their own conclusions about who you are. It's a delicate balance. You don't want to be closed off or distant. Instead, you want to be open, warm, and authentic, but leave room for him to fill in the gaps. Let him wonder about your interests, your passions, your experiences. Let him imagine what it would be like to know you more deeply without you laying all the details out immediately. By doing this, you create a sense of anticipation, a kind of mental space where he's curious to uncover the layers of your personality. Now, there's an important nuance here. Mystery isn't about being deceptive or playing hard to get. It's not about withholding affection or pretending to be someone you're not. Instead, it's about not rushing to fill every silence, to explain every part of yourself right away. It's about taking your time and, in turn, allowing him to take his time in understanding you. This naturally builds a deeper level of connection and intrigue. The more you hold back just enough, the more he'll be fascinated by your depth. One of the most powerful ways to embrace this concept is by leaving the conversation or interaction on a high note. When you're spending time together, make sure you leave before the energy starts to fade. When things are at their peak, when he's feeling engaged and connected, that's when you step away. Not abruptly, but with intention. This keeps the experience fresh in his mind, and it keeps him thinking about you long after you've left. It leaves him with that sense of, I want to know more. Because here's the thing, when you leave at the right moment, the next time you see him, he'll be just as excited to pick up where you left off, if not more so. And the key here isn't about making it all about the mystery for the sake of keeping him interested. It's about giving him space to think about you, to process what he felt in your presence, and to wonder about the things you didn't share right away. In essence, you're inviting him into your world without overwhelming him with too much at once. You're setting the stage for deeper connection, but you're letting him come to the realization of that on his own. Something else that's crucial in creating validation, this might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. When you're constantly looking for reassurance from him, you're giving away a piece of that mystery. When you're constantly seeking his approval, you're making your value dependent on his reaction. But when you don't need that validation to feel secure, when you walk into a room or interact with him with the knowledge that your worth is not up for debate, that creates a sense of intrigue. It makes him curious about what makes you so confident, so assured in yourself. And this isn't just about playing it cool or being emotionally distant. It's about being fully invested in your own life, your own journey, and letting that speak for itself. When you have your own passions, your own goals, and your own sense of purpose, that's incredibly attractive. That's what makes you the woman who doesn't need him, but whom he wants to be around. It's about living your life to the fullest, being the best version of yourself, and letting that shine through naturally. But here's the thing. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to have it all together if you're not truly living it. It has to come from a place of genuine confidence and self-assurance. That kind of confidence is magnetic in and of itself. And when you're living your life on your own terms, not only do you leave him thinking about you, but you also create an environment where he's naturally drawn to who you are as a person, not just as someone he's trying to figure out. As you move forward, remember that the art of mystery is never about being elusive or creating barriers. It's about allowing him the space to get to know you gradually, to form his own conclusions, and to genuinely appreciate your depth. When you let that curiosity grow naturally, you leave him with something to think about long after you're gone. Leave him wanting more. Leave him thinking about the things you didn't say, the things you didn't share just yet. And most importantly, leave him wondering if the best part of you is still waiting to be discovered. Imagine this. You're living your life with purpose, filling your days with passion and building a future that excites you. You're not waiting around for validation. You're not sitting by the phone hoping for a text or a call. You're doing things that fuel your soul and your goals. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When you live like this, when you become the woman who doesn't need a man to complete her, you become irresistible. Not because you're playing games, but because you're living your truth. See, so many people, especially women, get caught in the trap of needing someone else to make them feel seen, validated, or worthy. But here's the truth. The more you need someone else to validate you, the more you're actually pushing them away. When you're fulfilled, when you're content in your own skin, people naturally gravitate towards you. The energy you put out into the world isn't one of desperation or need, it's one of abundance, joy, and self-assurance. But here's the catch. You don't just pretend to be fulfilled. It's not about posting the perfect picture on Instagram or saying you're fine when you're not. It's about genuinely cultivating your life in a way that excites you so that no matter who walks in or out of it, you're still on your own journey. This kind of life is magnetic. It's what makes him take a step back and think, what does she have going on? What's so intriguing about her? Why can't I get her out of my mind? When you're truly living for yourself, you stop being worried about what others think. And that's incredibly attractive. You're not constantly measuring yourself against some external standard. You're at peace with who you are. You're comfortable in your own company, confident in your own abilities, and invested in your own growth. And that's the kind of energy that lingers in someone's mind long after you leave. Now let's break this down. Why does a man think about you when you're living a full life? The answer is simple. He sees you as someone who isn't desperate for his attention, but someone who adds something valuable to his world. You're not just someone he can call when he's bored or lonely. You're someone who's living with purpose. And that draws him in. It forces him to take notice of the fact that you're not relying on him to create your happiness. Instead, you're confident enough to let him fit into your life if he's worthy of it. But here's where you have to get real. This is not about playing hard to get. It's not about pretending you're not interested or keeping your distance just to create some kind of mystery. It's about being genuinely interested in your own life. And when you're living from a place of inner fulfillment, you stop seeking out the attention of someone else to prove your worth. Your worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion or approval. And the more you believe this and live it out, the more he'll start to wonder what makes you so magnetic. Think about it. He's been on countless dates, had endless conversations, but somehow there's something different about you. It's not because you've said all the right things or because you played it cool. It's because you're not clinging to him or his approval. You've created your own life that's rich with meaning, purpose, and excitement. Your life is a narrative in which he can be a part, but only if he adds to the value you're already creating for yourself. This is where the real power lies, in living a life that's so full, so engaging, that people, including him, can't help but wonder what it would be like to be part of it. He'll start thinking about you more, not because you're vying for his attention, but because he wants to be in the presence of someone who has that much going on. Someone who is emotionally stable, self-sufficient, and who doesn't need anyone to complete her, but who makes everyone around her want to step up. And this doesn't just apply to relationships. It's the same energy that attracts the right friendships, the right opportunities, and even the right career moves. When you live for yourself, when you take the time to invest in what makes you happy, you begin to radiate a quiet confidence. You stop needing others to validate your worth. You're not concerned with whether someone likes you because you already like yourself. And that energy is contagious. There's a certain kind of calm power that comes from this place of self-assurance. You become the type of person who doesn't get rattled by the little things. You don't bend over backward trying to please others. Instead, you move through the world with a steady, confident energy that leaves a lasting impression. And that's exactly the kind of energy that gets under his skin. It's the kind that makes him think long after you've gone, how does she do it? What is it about her that keeps me coming back to her? The key to all of this is to live in a way that you're not waiting.